Pass Around the Smile is like your go-to friend, the one that lifts you up and backs you till the end. She's there to guide and inspire, challenge and teach, and remind you that your best self isn't out of reach. Self-development, manifestation, self-love and more, it's time to trust the process more than ever before. Welcome to Pass Around the Smile, the podcast. I'm your host, Cleo Massey, and I am so glad you're here. Let the magic begin. Hello, my smileys. Welcome back to Behind the Magic, an accidental series I created. This is part 4. So if you are listening to this and you haven't listened to part 1, 2, and 3 yet, go back before the Astro Tash episode and listen to them in order. Otherwise, it will probably not make sense, but my gosh, do I have some exciting updates for you. So in part 3, I promised you that in October, I would record an episode that was kind of like a wrap up and an overview and share my results of how I went. And you will have seen, well, you may have seen, you may not have seen if you're not on social media, but one of my goals I reached, and there is a really cool story around it, and I just cannot wait to share it because it's honestly, I'm so excited that I reached this goal, yes, but I think what I'm more excited about is the way that it manifested. I just still to this day am so amazed at how when something is meant to be, the law of attraction will back you in helping that thing be. And no matter who you are, where you are, if you believe it, if you can see it, you've created it. It's only a matter now of bringing it into your physical reality. And I think that's something that I had to remind myself. Remember, I did this in September. So now we're obviously in October, but I know you guys, if you have listened to part 1, 2, 3 already, you have set your goals for October. So just remember that I'm kind of like a month ahead. And if you're only just listening to this series now, you might want to just start your 30 days or whatever it is, start wherever you are. You can, absolutely. Or if you want to start for November, do that. December, obviously. Do what you like. It could be also a really nice thing to revisit in January to set some new goals so you can come back and listen again. So, okay, a few things. Oh my God. First of all, just a little update, a little like, hey, how you going? I listen to quite a few podcasts and I actually really do like listening to like updates from the hosts. So I hope that you do like this as well. I think it really helps with connection, and also so much of my story intertwines into the lessons or the examples that I teach and give throughout my episodes. So I think I do need to get a little bit more comfortable in being like, no, my community want to hear from me and about me and what's happening. I won't blab on, but sometimes I'm like, no, I just need to get straight into the nitty-gritty of the episode so I can teach and educate and inspire. But yeah, basically a little update on my end came off of my retreat, which I co-hosted with Yoga Ball. We also had Kylie Stewart as a guest, and the retreat was honestly the most magical 4 days, 3 nights of absolute bliss. We had an hour and a half each day of Pass Around the Smile workshops, of course, led by me. We had yoga by Brooklyn. We had sound healings. We had massages, facials. Some of the guests were doing healing and Reiki treatments with incredible Charisse from Yoga Ball. Then, of course, Kylie, psychic medium, was holding psychic sessions for all of the guests. So at any one time, guests were just off doing the most incredible, transformational, beautiful, peaceful things. And then if you weren't doing that, we had free time, beautiful pool, and we were chatting and connecting, and the most beautiful people came on this retreat. So if you are listening and you are a smiley that came on that retreat, please know how much I appreciate you and the time that we got to spend together. It was so magical. And not only was it transformational, and we worked through a lot of things that were really blocking us from manifesting what it was that we wanted. It was what it is that we wanted, I should say. What it is that we want. Oh my gosh, I'm getting that all wrong. It was also just a really fun few days. We giggled, we laughed, it felt light. So everyone just left feeling really refreshed and at ease with new friends and beautiful new realizations that they've had for themselves. Everyone left with new goals, and I'm so passionate about these retreats, and Brooklyn and I have actually decided that we are going to do another one sooner rather than later. So if this is calling your name, keep watch on my socials. subscribe to my emails because there will be another retreat coming out soon. And honestly, I think it will sell out pretty fast because the last one did sell out really fast until we had to move venues last minute. And that was a whole thing, but it all worked out for the better. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I also got some time at the retreat for myself to just be and to be by myself and to fully relax. And while I was feeling so good, because of course I was surrounded by this beautiful energy on retreat, it's such a good time to actively manifest and ask for what it is that you wanted. So I went and sat in the yoga room by myself and I journaled something that I won't read to you yet, but it is something that I will absolutely read to you. And I might read it to you on my tour. You heard it here first. Pass around the smile, the tour. I'm going to tell you more about that because it is a huge, new, exciting goal that I literally have just set for myself and I'm feeling so excited about it. But we will touch on that during this episode because, you know, it's all about setting goals, manifestations. What are we doing next, guys? Where do you want to go? Who are you? What do you want in this life? You can grab it. And I want you to feel so inspired and empowered knowing that you can go and grab it. So where am I? Again, I hope you listened to part 1, 2, and 3, so this makes sense. But basically, let's go with my first goal, meditate every single day. I basically did it. I missed a couple of days here and there, but I always made it up. It was really, really incredible for me. I have definitely gotten so much better at practicing meditation. Josie and I have decided that we're going to do it for another month. I think statistically it takes like 66 days or something like that to set a habit. I will admit I was so busy in the week lead up to the retreat that I kind of fell off already. But then of course at the retreat I was meditating so much. So I just feel like that's kind of, you know, made up for that. But now I've been back, I also haven't meditated at all this week. I'm just being honest. But I am going to promise myself I'm going to get back into it because not only is it so satisfying for me to feel the effects of me getting better again at meditation, it has also had a direct effect on my mood, on how I react, on how I perceive things. And most importantly for me, for the month of September, it was helping me manifest. It was helping me see clearly as to what it was that I wanted. And it was helping me believe. It was helping me feel really optimistic. So yeah, that was my first goal for September. I did it. I'm so proud of myself. I've shown myself that I can get better and that meditation is a practice. Because if you've listened to this podcast, I have really fallen out of meditation. And for me, that's really sad because I used to meditate so often and just get in the most like crazy state, like within minutes. So I'm going to get back there. I am going to get back there. So my second goal didn't actually manifest in September. But in part 3, remember how we talked about time and getting comfortable in divine timing? And one of the biggest things that I said, I just re-listened to part 3. I listened to it on 2 times speed because I was like, I need to just refresh my mind. So if you ever need a refresh, go back and listen on 2 times speed because sometimes I guess you just need, you don't have time. And it was really good. And one of me saying my podcast was really good, but I learned things from myself. I honestly did because I forget what I say. And I said something like, around the idea of we can put times on our manifestations, right? Because if we have a time, so I had September, what I did then in September, actionable stepwise, inspired action-wise, was take so much of it. I created so much momentum for myself in September because I had a goal that I wanted to manifest these things in September. So I took so many steps that I wouldn't normally, faster, braver, more empowered. I was just go, go, go. Of course, not forcing, only when it felt good. And that, for me, in that month, created so much momentum and then created these goals up in the universe because whatever we think about, whatever we can see, we create, we know that it's just energy. And then what I've kind of realized is that, of course, I said you want to kind of say, I accept this in September. It would be great if it came in September. But if there is a better way of this coming to me and it's in a later month, then I accept that as well. And I'm so grateful and I'm enjoying the process. You can say all these beautiful mantras to yourself. And I did that. And with the goal 2, which was manifest X amount of money, I was saying this. Don't get me wrong, there were times in September where I was like, oh, I really want this in September, and like it's not happening, like I'm nowhere near my goal 100%. But what the meditation did for me was allow myself to quickly pull myself out of what I was seeing in reality and remember that I get to create my reality, and my reality is just as real in my mind as it is as to what I am seeing in my real life, if that makes sense. Because we know that when we visualize, we trick our minds into bringing what we want into reality, because our minds cannot tell the difference between what we are imagining in our mind and what we are seeing and experiencing in real life. We've got to remember too that when we're manifesting, our higher powers, the universe, is going to bring what it is that we want to us in the best way possible. And sometimes we can't see the best way possible, or we can't even imagine how good it could be because we are blocked by limiting beliefs or stories we've told ourselves growing up, and they've kind of implanted there in our subconscious mind. But what I've learned is that when we release the pressure of time and when we trust in divine timing, the product, the result of what we are manifesting can come in such better ways. For example, let's say if I really did, which we actually can't really force manifestations into our reality because it doesn't really work when we're working with that forceful, needy energy. But if you really tried really hard and you were like forcing things, the product or the result of what you are manifesting wouldn't be a product or a result of positivity, of love, of gratitude, of high vibration, right? It would be a product of needy energy, desperate energy, micromanaging energy. So what I realize that I have done now that I'm in October is so September, right? I did not reach the money goal. I was actually nowhere near it. October though, it's like all the efforts and the good work that I did physically and spiritually in September is overflowing into October. Money is coming in for me now, like in really, really beautiful, fun, and exciting ways. All of the money that I am making in October, which is so much more than I made in September. I don't know if I'll get to the goal, but I'm definitely far, far closer. It's all a result of really exciting opportunities or good things or things that I could have never even imagined could have given me money. So by releasing that pressure and that time and that needy energy being so attached to no, this has to happen in September, I've allowed it to come in October in better ways. However, I do know I would have absolutely blocked all of this beautiful money coming in beautiful ways in October had I been super attached to money only coming to me in September and having to reach that goal. And if I don't reach that goal in September, I have failed, blah, 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 blah. So I think you kind of get what I'm saying there. Didn't reach the goal in September, might reach the goal in October. If not, I'll be very close. And the money is coming in really, really beautiful ways. And I really do think it's because I let go of the pressure and I got out of the universe's way. And I was like, I am so excited to see how this money comes to me. We get to wake up in the morning and we get to be like, I am so excited to see what happens today. I have that much trust in the universe, that the universe has my back, that my higher powers know what I want, know what I need to be happy, that I am just so excited to see what unfolds today. I'm so excited to see what they've been cooking up for me up there. And I'm so excited to see how it manifests into my physical reality. We get to be excited. We get to expect good things. When we expect good things, we are saying to the universe, I'm ready, I'm open, I'm so excited. Show me how good it gets. Okay, the third goal. I am going to insert a video here. This was taken on October 1. We're now midway through October. I don't even know the date today, actually. I actually have no idea. We're in the middle of October now. This was from the 1st of October, and I'm going to insert this video here, and then I'll expand on it. Guys, what the You can't even write this. Okay, I have just calmed myself down, and I'm going to tell you the proper story on the actual podcast, because then I can do it in my microphone, and when I'm calmed down I'll tell you how it actually happened and what happened. But I just wanted to capture this moment. I've just gone on and seen that I have hit 1 million downloads, actually 1,300,000. 1 million, how do you say that? 1,300,000 downloads, yeah. On the 1st of October. However, because it's 300 over a million, it is almost 100% likely that I actually hit the million on the last day of September. And you guys know that this was my goal for within September. Like, I'm obviously so excited about the million downloads, but I think I'm more excited and just incredibly amazed at manifestation and what we can do, what we can create with our minds. Like, this has just reminded me again how powerful the law of attraction is, and I'm just feeling so elated and excited and proud, and I just hope that this can inspire so many of you to set goals. And there's no better feeling. I can't believe it. I can, but I can't. So yes, let me elaborate. Let me tell you how this happened. So on the 30th of September, I had checked my analytics and I was quite a big chunk away from manifesting the million. And I must say, I was a bit disappointed. But the disappointment, it was a weird feeling I felt. I just knew I was missing something, but I was looking at the analytics right then and there. So what I do is I add up my Apple podcast listens and my Spotify podcast listens. And I was like, well, it's right there in front of me. It's okay that it hasn't happened in time. But like, I think the disappointment was also confusion, because I believed I know I've just talked about divine timing, but deep in my soul and my heart, I really believed that this one goal was going to be made in September. And when you have a feeling about something, it's like when I was pregnant. Remember I told you I was driving and I just had this like the deepest gut feeling that I was going to have my baby on the 20th, 21st or 22nd. And that was a week before my due date, but I just knew, it was so clear. Those thoughts that come in, they're coming in for a reason. It's your higher self. It's your intuition. Trust them. Trust those thoughts, I mean. So for me, the million podcast downloads, I had this deep gut feeling that I was going to get it in September. So when I sat down on September 30 and I saw that I was quite, a lot away, I was disappointed, but I was confused. I woke up the next morning, I went about my day, and I was still just like, I just feel like something's missing. So in the afternoon of October 1, I sat down on my computer and I was like, I had a little chat to the universe. I was like, universe, I feel like this goal is done. Like, I felt this energy in my body of like excitement and fulfillment and accomplishment, but I couldn't understand why I was feeling it, because I hadn't reached the goal that I was so excited to reach. And I knew I hadn't reached the money goal, and the meditation goal was kind of a very that was a progress goal. And I'd known that if I wanted to make that goal, I could just do it every single day, which I did. So this was different. But it was like my body and my energy already knew. And this is another kind of lesson regarding intuition, I guess. When sometimes you're feeling something, right? And maybe it could be the opposite end. It could be you're feeling really sick in your tummy about something, or anxious, or your blood is boiling, but there's nothing wrong. And then, maybe a couple of hours later, something unfolds with a friend, or you hear some bad news or something like that. And you're like, oh, my intuition was telling me something's wrong. And I don't want to say this also to scare you, because sometimes we do just feel anxiety for no reason at all. We get these random, intrusive, awful thoughts, and they mean nothing at all. Remember, we have over 70,000 thoughts a day. Sometimes they mean absolutely nothing, and we can grab onto those thoughts. We can assume, we can create the worst case scenario and absolutely negatively spiral. But sometimes it is that true intuitive feeling that something's up. Anyway, this is the opposite. My gut was I was celebrating, and I was like, why is my body celebrating? Why is my mind celebrating? So I sat down and I was like, nah, I feel like, nah. So I jumped on ChatGPT and I said, hello, chat. I'm trying to count my, my podcast downloads, and I need you to help me out. I feel like something's missing. tell me how to count analytics. Like I've taken my Spotify analytics, I've taken my Apple Podcast analytics. Is there anything else I can do? Like, are there any other basically counts, downloads that I'm missing? And chat replied being like, yeah, first of all, Google Podcasts used to be a thing that's not a thing anymore. So back when I started my podcast for like a year, there was this thing called Google Podcasts. And what an RSS feed also does is like when I upload my podcast episode to an RSS feed, it gets posted out to all of these different platforms. But I only focus on Apple Podcasts and Spotify because they're the main ones that people listen on. But there were Google Podcasts that, as I said, now is not a thing. And there were like 4 or 5 of these other apps that when I went into my podcasting platform, I could see the exact count and amounts on a pie graph. So it was like Spotify takes up heaps, Apple Podcast takes up heaps. And then there were these tiny little colors that represented all of these other, I can't even remember what they were called. It was like Podchaser and Sound something and like all these other little apps that I've never even heard of, but my RSS feed pushes my podcast out to these apps. And all of those apps added up to, a certain amount of numbers. And then ChatGPT was also like, and don't you post your podcast on YouTube as well? And I was like, yes, I do. So then I went onto YouTube and I counted all of the views that I've had on YouTube throughout my podcast. And all of these little different platforms added up to 1,300,000 downloads on the 1st of October, which, as I said in the video, I think it actually happened on the 30th of September. Honestly, guys, when I tell you I felt magnetic, I was like, I can take on the world. I feel so excited. Yes, the 1 million downloads was so great. And I'm so grateful to all of you for being on this journey and for supporting me and for commenting, for sharing, for sending this podcast to your friends and family, for listening yourself and trusting me to be your self and spiritual development helper, guru, teacher. I'm not calling myself a guru. Oh, that sounds so bad. Oh, yuck, guys. Pretend I didn't say that. But I'm thankful that you guys trust me, basically. That's all very exciting. But what was even more exciting was the fact that I manifested it to the day. And this goes to show that when you believe something so deeply, you absolutely can create it. And the universe will help you create it in the time that you want to. Of course, listening to part 3 and remembering that the universe doesn't actually work with time. It's a human construct. However, if your perception of time kind of gets erased and if you are letting it go and if you're going with the flow and if you're taking inspired action, it is bound to happen in the way that you want it to happen. So I really hope that this can inspire you guys to create some goals and to get moving. Start moving forward. And if you are going, yes, but Cleo, I don't know what I want. I don't know who I am. I don't know what my next best step is. I say to you, meditate, journal, do the work to understand where you are, who you are, connect to your higher self. Do my inner child meditation. It's free on my podcast. I have journal prompts that really, really help create positive change in my positive guidance journal and my Your Mindful journal. In the Your Mindful journal in particular, it takes you through a journaling kind of series and flow that I have created over the years that actually really works. So it's all about first releasing. It's about journaling about your negativity, your resentment, your anger, your limiting beliefs, your fear, letting it all out onto paper. The realizations that you have when you do that are like life-changing. And then you're moving into the connect phase of journaling. And each different phase in the journal has all these journal prompts. It explains exactly what you need to do, how to do it. It has beautiful artwork. This journal is like your safe space. So connecting, we cannot manifest until we are connected to who we are, connected to what we want, and connected to a higher power that we believe in. And then we move, of course, into the manifestation stage of the journal, which is very exciting. And we end on the gratitude side of phase, I should say, of the journal. You have the answers. Your heart knows things your mind cannot explain. It's just about connecting with your heart. If you don't have the money right now, I have like 83 podcast episodes. 83? Did I just say 83? I think I meant to say over 80 and I just said 83. Maybe I have 83. I don't know. I have over 80 episodes on my podcast that you can listen to help yourself. It's about taking action now. You are the only person who can create positive change in your life. It's you. It's only you. And when you make little changes every single day, they all add up. And one day soon, it could be tomorrow, it could be next week, it could be next month. This is an exciting thing. Things happen really quickly. Things change really quickly when your vibration changes, when you show the universe, I'm ready. I'm going to start making actionable changes. And again, if you don't know what to do because you don't know what you want, then just try something. Try something that you think you might enjoy. Or even if let's say if you're in a job that it's not fulfilling you right now, but right now you're in the job, right? Become the best at that job. Figure out all the things about that job that you don't like. Figure out what you do like. Take that and learn from it. And remember that if we try something that we actually really don't like in the end, or if we do, I'm doing the little bunny ears, if we do fail, because we know that failure is not really failure, it's redirection. We are redirected. We are pushed into a different direction, which will take us and lead us to fulfillment, to our life purpose, to understanding what it is that can genuinely fill us up and make us happy. We all have something or some things that can fill us up and make us happy. And you might be going, nah, I swear I don't, Cleo. I don't know what it is and nothing can make me happy. I've tried this, I've tried that. I've been there for years and years and years and years and years. I was so fulfilled. I was angry with the universe. I was angry with myself. Oh my God, I was so stuck. It was me who finally got myself out of that rut. How? Meditation every now and then. It wasn't hard. I wasn't meditating for hours. I wasn't meditating every day. Journaling every now and then, asking myself the real questions that create real change, not skimming over the uncomfortable stuff. And manifestation. Tuning in with what it was that I want, taking inspired action. And literally, it's so exciting when everything starts to unfold. It's time to give up control. It's time to go with the flow. It's time to go and grab your dreams because your dreams are waiting for you. They're right there. It's time to grab them unapologetically. So, speaking of goals, I want to now share my next goal with you guys, which I'm not going to lie, it's a really big goal. I know I talk about no one goal being bigger than another goal. I know that as humans, we choose the way that we want to perceive something. I can perceive this goal as big and huge and crazy, or I can perceive it as easy and fun and effortless. I'm going to mix the two because there is no lying that this goal is big. I have to also be realistic. Now, I have ummed and ahed whether I would share this goal with my community, but you, my smileys, are honestly so inspiring to me. I read your messages, I hear your feedback, I see you in the Pass Around the Smile Facebook community, and you're also such a huge support for me. So I want to take you along this year journey to get to where I want to get to, and I hope and I pray that you guys are there watching me, with me, when Pass Around the Smile goes on tour next year. I'm thinking October, so a year from today. Okay, so forever, right? I have wanted to do a Pass Around the Smile Australian tour. Now, if you're in the United States, if you're in the UK, if you're anywhere else, I promise, I promise I'll come one day. I will make sure I come one day. But for now, this obviously has to be Australia, and I'm not even doing all of Australia. So also, if you're listening to this and you're not where I'm going to go, I am going to go all around Australia, but I have to start somewhere. And what I think will happen is when I create the show, when I do it, when I have the success, then it will easily flow on and I can move around the world. Let's go big. Okay, so yes, I didn't know whether to share it with you this early, but A, it's going to hold me really accountable, and B, I want you guys to not only get excited with me, but I want you to get excited about your own goals with me. So why don't you in this moment, beautiful time of year to create goals. It's exciting. It's like Christmas is coming. Everyone's just that little bit, I don't know, more like holidays are coming. I know it's different because in Australia it's obviously like hot and we have our big holidays over Christmas, but overseas like the white Christmas is coming. And anyway, I feel like it's a bit of a magical time of year. And of course I do understand that Christmas can also be a really hard time of year for some people. But I think for those of you who are feeling a little bit magical and a little bit inspired, why don't you create a goal that pushes you beyond your limits? Okay? You do not want to get to the end of your life and think, what if I had tried that? Do you want to just sit there and let other people do big, think big, and then you sit there and see it on your phone and feel jealous and think, what if, or think I could do that too? Well, why don't we all start now together? So let me tell you about my goal. And I've shown myself that in September, I created so much momentum by working towards something that excited me. And I've learned so much and I've come so far. And I've also learned so much of like what I didn't want as well. So it really helps you grow as a person. So basically, I am doing a Pass Around the Smile tour. I've wanted to do this forever, and I just kept putting it off and off and off because it is scary. It is really big and it is scary. And it is also hard to do this with a baby. I now work 2 days a week, 2.5, sometimes 3 days a week. And I don't want to work anymore because this time with Indy at this age is so, so precious. But I also love what I do. So what I have to cram into 2 to 3 days a week is so, so huge. And I also have other really exciting things next year, like another retreat, and we're going to Europe. So it is going to be a huge year, but I get to choose. I get to choose if that is exciting or if it's scary. I'm going with exciting. I'm so blessed that I get to hold another retreat, go to Europe with my family, and hold an Australian tour. I am so, so blessed. And I get to choose to give in to the anxiety, to give in to the self-doubt. Who's going to buy tickets? Who am I to stand up on stage? It's going to cost me so much money. It's going to be so hard to, bring Indigo along. And there is so much that could go wrong. But there is so much more that could go right. And I'm going to choose to focus on that. And this next year is going to be the truest testament. And I'm going to take you through the whole process, the whole behind the scenes, everything that goes right, everything that goes wrong. I'm going to be so honest and open with you guys because I want you to come along the journey with me. And I really hope that you can be there in the audience listening to what I create, because boy, do I have some plans for this show. I did do a little mini Oz tour. I did like a Gold Coast show, which was like a huge manifestation in itself because it was at this place called Miami Marquetta. And back when I started Pass Around the Smile as a blog in 2015, I printed out my little business cards on like the thinnest A4 paper. I like cut them crookedly and went to this, it was called like a Big Hearted Morning Tea, I think. And it was at this beautiful venue called Miami Marquetta, as I said, and my mum and I went, and oh my God, I've forgotten her name. Claire something spoke, and she was like an author and an inspirational speaker, and she was great, and I felt so inspired, and I thought one day I'm going to be on that stage, and I'm going to fill this room. And however many years later, I think it was like maybe 7 or 8 years later, I did. I was in that very room on that very stage, and I filled the room. I sold the room out. So that was so exciting. And I'm like, if I can do that, I can do this. And then on that tour, I did a little one in Brisbane at my friend's nursery, the Nurso it's called. It's so cute. You guys have to visit if you're in Brisbane or around Brisbane, go visit the Nurso. And then I did actually go to Melbourne, which was so special. My Smileys in Melbourne are so passionate and yeah, love you guys. So this tour, likely October. Again, this could change. I'm going to take you on the whole journey. You're going to be like behind the scenes with me. Thinking October next year, Gold Coast, Sydney, and Melbourne. Again, for the Tassie, the South Australia, the Western Australia, the Northern Territory. I'm sorry. I right now, that is too much, but it will flow. It will flow on. And maybe this is like a little sign to take a girls' weekend, come to the Gold Coast, go to Sydney, go to Melbourne, come watch Pass Around the Smile live. I can guarantee it's going to be a really inspirational, fun night. Maybe I'm giving you a year's notice. Maybe take a little holiday with your family or friends or solo to treat it like a little retreat. Anyway, I digress. Okay, so that's the goal. The show in itself, I'm talking, I want it to be transformational. I want it to be inspirational. I want it to be funny. I want it to be entertaining. I want to have guests. I am thinking big. It's exciting and scary, but I'm leaning toward excitement. When I had this moment on retreat and I walked out, and I hope, and I know these smileys will be listening because they're such smileys. They listen to everything I do and I'm just so grateful. I walked out and there was a group of them, and for all ages, ranging from like early 20s to 60s. And they were talking about Pass Around a Smile. They were getting out the products that they have, the cards. They were talking about which journals they have. They were talking about what the cards have told them over the years, and how they just love how much magical energy is in them. They always tell them what they need to know. They were talking about my podcast. They were sitting there in this group giggling and feeling inspired and sharing, like quoting me, things I've said on the podcast. And I stood there listening, and I just felt the most amount of grateful that I think I've ever, I just thought about my birth then. I can never feel more grateful for that. But I felt so grateful, guys, in this moment. And I also thought, I know I'm good enough. I can do this. I don't need to let the limiting beliefs of I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, people don't like me enough, or whatever, comparing myself to other people. I can do this. I can hold these events, these shows, this tour, and I can enjoy it, and I can share the love and the positivity and everything that happens along the way of planning it. And I'm so excited to stand on that stage. I'm like feeling emotional saying this, but I'm so excited to stand on that stage and to share how it all goes, and to share in the energy that will be so magnetic on those nights. But that moment for me, those women at my retreat, thank you. Because I walked out and I sat there listening for a little bit before I came over to the group, and that was a moment that I'll never forget. I cannot believe I listened in to you guys loving on what I do, and that just blew my mind. So we might leave that episode here. Thank you for coming along the Behind the Magic series. I think this will probably close off of this series, but I will continue to probably kind of touch on the things that we went through and my goals as the podcast continues on. Please get in touch, join the Facebook community. The link is in the bio. If you are interested in the retreat, it may be in March. Again, it's a little bit iffy, but we're going to do another one. So if you are interested, email me at hello@passaroundthesmile.com or DM me on Pass Around the Smile Instagram. Please leave a review if you liked this podcast, this series. It really, really helps me continue. Thank you so much, guys. Remember, there's so many free meditations on my podcast that you can delve into now to really, really help yourself create that positive change. And if you're wanting to go further, I have heaps and heaps of meditations on my website that you can download. And of course, all of my manifestation tools and resources through my card decks, my journals, all of the magical things I have on passaroundthesmile.com. I love you guys. I will talk to you soon.